Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Satyajit and I am here to discuss one question on this daily answer writing program that is we are conducting on YouTube on daily basis. As I am faculty for Indian Society for GS and Sociology optional, I would like to discuss one question from one important topic from Indian society. That topic is called as urbanization, and this question has been asked by UPSC in 2013 mains paper GS1 paper. The question is quoted like this: discuss the various social problems which originated out of the speedy process of urbanization in India. And it was asked in 13, 10 for 10 marks. Okay. This question is again one simple question, one liner question. Yes, of course, but the answer is not one liner. But the question is of only one dimension. Where you have to focus on only on the social problems originated out of this speedy process of, you can say, urbanization process. Okay. Uh, as it is very simple question, we would like to discuss the structure also, how we can design this question. This question can be designed likely where you are given with two separate pages to write this answer, and as formality you have to write 3 to 4 lines, maximum 3 lines would be sufficient, and 3 to 4 lines for conclusion. Okay. And the body part is one dimensional part, that is called as the, you can say, the social problems. Okay. Out of this urbanization process, or even the social problems can work. Okay. And you have to write such max 10 such problems, and likely you have to give solutions, or as a conclusion it can be like what government is doing, and the second half what other initiatives can be taken on your suggestion part. Okay. The conclusion part is very formal and very regular. But let's talk about introduction. What can be the introduction? The introduction can be again very simple. You can mention some facts or data here. Okay. As you can know, or you know about the data of urbanization, India is currently 31% urbanized, and we are projecting that Indian population, of urban population especially, might go up to 50% by 2050. So you may draw that graph even. That graph is like this. Okay, so currently we are 31% urbanized, and by 2050 it can go up to 50% of total population. Okay, we are projecting the urban population to rise very rapidly in the recent 20 years, the next 20 years. So you can draw this graph somewhere here. Okay, so like this, and this first half can be the introduction, where you can mention what the graph is. Okay, and likely below that you can start with the social problems. Okay, the introduction can be simple fact like this fact, or any other idea that you may come across, like news or any recent case study that is happening, or any another very important news, like social problem from a particular society, like a particular urban society like Delhi or something like this. Okay, so you can mention that news also. But I think the key quoting this data or the facts is very important. Okay, now let's discuss about the body part. Okay, the body part can be, okay, the firstly introduction. How a simple introduction can be like this: the rapid urbanization process in India has brought about the host of social problems as the country's cities struggle to accommodate the growing population. Okay, a very important phenomena or very important process is going on in India of economic development, industrialization, modernization, and globalization. And because of different processes, urban centers are growing very rapidly. But important point to note here that is very few urban centers and selective urban centers are increasing on rapid basis, like Delhi NCR, we have Mumbai or Bengaluru or even Hyderabad. But beyond that, the other urban centers are not actually developing on that scale. At the same time, the rate of urbanization, I mean, the people that are coming to reside in urban centers is very high, very rampant rate. Okay, so in that case, the civic amenities are actually are feeling deficient to provide for these people that are coming, the incoming migrant labor, incoming migrant people, incoming service laborer. So in that case, the government machinery is actually feeling inadequate to provide services to this upcoming or the incoming population. So in that case, the rapid process of urbanization has actually meeting the few important problems that we are going to focus. Like for example, overcrowding. If you observe the population, the rising population in urban centers like Delhi or NCR, it is somewhere like 2 to 3 crores, or even in Pune. So the overcrowding is the most important issue that we need to focus upon. And because of this overcrowding, the housing shortage is happening. and the slums are developing because of the rising rates of land, rising rates of housing and apartments, and because of that the slums are increasing. So important problems of slums are the, and as you know, about 45% of total population in Mumbai, it lives in slums. So, and living in slums is another issue. Let's say the compromised health conditions, the compromised educational conditions, the compromised domestic or other social issues like going on in the slums, like domestic violence, prostitution, even drug addiction, alcoholism, and crimes. The increasing rate of crimes in slums is another issue. So the rising population in urban centers is actually provoking overcrowding and housing shortage issues, and that is giving rise to another social issues that we just discussed. Okay. Additionally, unemployment is rising in urban centers because the rate at which the population is getting migrated to urban centers and the rate at which we are generating employment is not matching. So the employment generation rate is falling short to the rate of incoming population, and in that case, the unemployment and informal labor cases are increasing. At the same time, the healthcare disparities are there, especially in these centers in urban area. The selective localities like the slums or not to do so societies in urban centers. In those cases, the inadequate hospital or the medical facilities are giving rise to new diseases like cholera, or the poor sanitation, poor hygiene, pollution even. So because of that, healthcare disparities are we are observing in urban centers. So unemployment and healthcare disparities is another dimension of the problems because of the speedy process of urbanization. At the same time, educational challenges. I already told you the rate at which the urban population is increasing and the rate at which we are developing civic amenities is not matching. The civic amenities like roads, the civic amenities like highways, the civic amenities like electricity, like the, you can say, pure water even, or the educational facilities like schools and colleges, or the healthcare facilities like medical colleges, or even number of doctors, doctor of nurses, at the same time the number of nurses, at the same time the number of hospitals. So all these civic amenities, they are actually feeling inadequate to provide for this incoming population than the urban centers. So the educational challenges are still rampant in urban centers. Especially the challenges are faced by poor population that is living in urban centers, slum dwellers that is living in urban centers, and in slums even we are observing the inequalities in the quality of education. On one hand, we have very well equipped schools, private schools, and on the other hand, we have government municipality schools which are deficient in the basic infrastructure like blackboards or even benches or even teachers on the regular basis. So educational challenges are one important issues that we are facing, or they faced by the urban population. Environmental degradation, okay, and this is very important issue because the rate at which we are polluting the urban air, urban water, urban soil, and etc., it is too harmful. The industry is rising, the private vehicles like cars and all, these are rising, and the effluents from these industries and effluents from these cars and all, that is polluting our environment, our air, our water. Not only air and water, it is also polluting our noise. So noise pollution is again very important issue that we are facing in urban centers, and this soil issue is also we are facing. At the same time, when we are expanding these urban centers, we are actually encroaching the jungles, and the deforestation is very important issue that we need to focus while we are discussing about environmental degradation. So deforestation and pollution is one important issue because of this speedy process of urbanization. At the same time, social isolation, okay, in this case the social isolation in terms of the lower castes, in terms of the old age or senior citizens, in case of religious minorities like Muslims and other religions, okay. So we are actually facing some issue called as like ghettoization. If you're, I think you have heard this word, but okay. So the issue of ghettoization, that means a particular religious community or caste community, they live together in a slum or a particular vasti. Okay, so social isolation is another issue that faced by some lower caste women, or you can say religious minorities like Muslims and etc. Then the crimes and the issues of security are also increasing on daily basis because of this. The ongoing cases on women harassment in urban centers, or the cases of women trafficking, or the, let's say, human trafficking or the child labor issue, the crimes, the rising rate of robberies, the rising rate of cyber crimes, and etc. is another issue. We must write in our mains examination about the rapid urbanization is giving birth to these new issues. Okay. At the same time, cultural shifts is a very important challenge we are facing, because when the rural migration or the rural migrant labor comes to the urban centers, they actually face, or they actually come into contact with the new culture that is called as urban culture, and many times they are not that much familiar to this new urban values or the modern values, and in that case they might face a cultural shock issue here. Okay, so the cultural shock is another issue that is faced by many of the newly urbanized people. Especially the cultural shock is faced by old age population, children, and women. Okay, so the cultural shifts, at the same time migration issues, and the many of times we actually observe the migrant labor, they feel harassment on the basis of let's say their low pay, low wages, the harassment on the basis of their employers, and etc. So the working conditions are not human, the working conditions and the working hours or the wages are not human, and the harassment of the migrant labor is very rampant issue that we are facing in our newly urban or the rampantly urban centers like Mumbai, Pune, or even Hyderabad, and etc. So these are the issues which are faced by the urban population because of the speedy process of urbanization. So this question was, what problems India is facing regarding the speedy process of urbanization? You have to just introduce in terms of data. Then you can write 8 to 10 different points in terms of what issues the urban centers are facing because of the speedy process of urbanization, like unemployment, like harassment, like crimes, child labor, or unemployment, or rural poverty shifting to urban poverty, and etc. Healthcare issues, education issues, issues faced by women, issues faced by children, issues faced by scheduled tribes and scheduled caste, issues faced by old age population, religious minorities, LGBTQ communities, and etc. So this is how you can write the social problems topic in all round basis. And in conclusion, you can actually provide solutions to these problems. Okay, the first half, again naturally, of the conclusion, the first half will be on what government is doing in that case, how government is planning to sustainably improve our urban centers, how government is planning to design or the plan the new urban centers, let's say through the schemes of smart cities, or even Hriday scheme, or even Amrut, है ना, or even Swachh Bharat Yojana urban, or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban. Okay, so these are the schemes that government is actually taking part in this speedy process of urbanization. At the same time, government is trying to solve these issues of the speedy process of urbanization. And the second half of the conclusion can be how we can add new initiatives, innovative initiatives to these schemes. Like for example, addressing the social problems requires comprehensive urban planning. So very important suggestion can be, we need to plan our urban centers. Okay, we need to plan where the residential area should be, where the industrial area should be, what should be the width of the roads, what should be the width of the footpaths, where should be the gardens, where should be the parking lots, where should be the garbage disposed, how the pipelines can move, and etc. So we need to plan the cities, the future cities, at least very precisely, and it should meet the future demands of the 100 years. So we need to plan the urban centers. We need to invest in infrastructure like public transportation, metros, roads, clean environment, pure water and hygiene, and toilets, and etc. So investment in infrastructure, social services. At the same time, the most importantly, government should work upon the affordability of housing. Okay, the rate at which the prices are going up in urban centers, it's very dangerous, and affordability issue is very important in urban centers. So in that case, MADA is doing a lot. I mean, SIDCO, HUDCO, at the same time, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban is doing a lot, but we need to do more. We need to just actually grab the knock there, and how the prices are increasing, we need to focus on that. And policies that promote a sustainable urban development, we should focus on. So we need planned urban cities, we need green urban cities, we need sustainable urban centers. So that can be a vision of India, urban India, after 2050. So on these lines, I would like to conclude this question, and I would like to thank you very much for this session, and we'll meet soon with another question very soon. Thank you.